Hey guys, and welcome to the video. Today's video is all about my postpartum weight loss journey. I'm gonna kind of take you through my mindset towards my weight loss journey, some tips and tricks, what I did, how I worked out, and how I ate in order to sustain a very slight caloric deficit and a healthy weight loss. First, I'm gonna start off with a little bit about my journey. So I started at 140 pounds pre-pregnancy, and then I gained 40 pounds. So I was sitting at around 180 to 185 pounds at the end of my pregnancy. Now, right away after birth, if you don't know, you lose a ton of weight. I think I lost around like 15 to 20 pounds within the first week. And that's just from, losing the weight of your baby, losing the weight of your amniotic fluid, and just like other fluids that you need in order to house your baby. So I lost around 15-20 pounds right after birth, and it actually took me around 7 months to get back to 5 pounds above my pre-pregnancy weight, and I'm still sitting at that weight now, and I'm not really trying to lose any more. Now, in the first 2 months, 2.5 months, I really didn't focus on losing weight at all. Going through birth is such a huge thing on your body, and I just really focused on eating a ton of whole plant foods to nourish my body and help it heal. I also had a C-section, so I was recovering from a major surgery, so I really was not focusing on going into a calorie deficit at that time because I wanted my body to have the most amount of nutrients that it could. The healing part of the postpartum journey is so important, and it's really important not to rush into training or going into a calorie deficit. I started actively going into a calorie deficit around the 3-month mark. I was at around 155 to 160 pounds at that time, and I really wanted to do it slow and sustainable. It's really important that when you're going into a calorie deficit, when you're breastfeeding, you don't want to go into a huge deficit because you want to make sure your milk supply is still there for your baby. So I just did like a 200 to 300 calorie deficit. And for me, the way I go into a calorie deficit is I just make small swaps throughout the day, and I don't overhaul my entire diet. I feel like this is the most sustainable way to lose weight because you don't feel like you're changing everything. You don't feel like you can't go out to eat, that you can't eat your favorite foods. So for example, if Matt was having cookies one night, I might say, I'm good, I'll just have a big bowl of blueberries or fruit instead. Or for my morning oats, instead of having a cup of oats, I would have a 3/4 cup of oats and then have a little bit less nut butter. And I feel like it is just so much easier and more sustainable to lose weight this way, rather than saying, I'm not gonna go out to eat, I'm cutting carbs, I'm cutting fats, I'm cutting all this stuff out of my life, because then it just feels like you're deprived. Like, I still ate out, I still ate the foods that I loved, I just ate a little bit less of them and just made swaps and just had a little bit less of things here and there. I started going back to the gym and weight training at around the 2.5 to 3 month mark. Now, that being said, I had to take it very slow. When you have a baby, you lose all of your core strength. So I was just going in lifting like 5 pounds, 10 pounds. I really just didn't want to re-injure myself, and I just wanted to get back into the groove and get my core strength back, because your core feels like jello after you give birth. Like, it's pretty crazy, and I feel like nobody really talks about that, but it is actually crazy how little strength you have in your core after birth. Then at around the 5-month mark, at that point, I knew I was ready for a body recomposition, because I knew if I put on more muscle that the look of my body would change drastically. I feel like people don't talk about body recomposition enough, women specifically, because I could be 155 pounds at 30% body fat and look drastically different at 155 pounds at 22% body fat. And being at a lower body fat basically just gives you the look of a very athletic, lean, fit look. It's not always about the weight. It's really about how much muscle you have. That makes a huge difference in how your body visually looks. So at that point on, I was just focused on building muscle. I had regained some of my core strength so I could lift at a decently heavy weight. I still wasn't pushing myself too hard. My main goal was body recomposition. So I was eating enough protein, I was eating at around maintenance calories, and I was lifting as heavy as possible in the gym. And those are the 3 key tools that you need to achieve body recomposition, which is turning your fat into muscle. And doing this, I saw drastic changes. My weight did not change very much from my 6-month mark at around like 150 pounds all the way to a year. I probably lost like 5 pounds in total. My body looked drastically different, and that's because by gaining muscle, it changed the look of my body drastically. Now I'm gonna be hitting a leg day today, so I'm gonna show you what a typical leg day workout looks like for me in order to build muscle and achieve that body recomposition. But first, I'm gonna have some breakfast and I'm gonna show you guys what I'm eating today. This is like a typical breakfast that I would have to hit my protein targets and to help build muscle after my workouts. When building muscle, as a rule of thumb, I like to have one protein source at every single meal, and today's breakfast is my bacon and cheese breakfast sandwiches, which are actually in my latest YouTube video. So the protein source here is tofu, and when you're trying to build muscle, you need to be eating enough calories and you need to be eating enough protein, because when you're in the gym, when you're lifting heavy, you are ripping apart your muscles, you're tearing those fibers apart, and then eating enough protein and calories helps fuel your muscles to build back bigger and stronger and better. I'm also having a latte with a scoop of Veggies Vegan Collagen here, which adds another 10 grams of protein, and a big bowl of blueberries. And this is like a typical breakfast that I would have to help me hit my protein targets. Moving on to my leg day workout. This is a very typical leg day workout for me. And of course, when I was freshly postpartum, it did look a lot different. I still tried to do these same exercises, but I went really light and I just listened to my body. If anything was ever hurting me or if it just felt like too much, I would just stop and move on and come back to it in another week or two. I also typically usually focus on compound movements, and that's just because compound movements give you the most bang for your buck. And when you have a baby or you're freshly postpartum, you really don't have a lot of time. So since those compound movements are hitting multiple muscle groups at a time, they're just the most efficient, and that's why I tend to lean on them. So I started off with some single leg Smith machine lunges, and now I'm moving into some single leg barbell RDLs. And I actually recently started using a lifting belt, and oh my goodness, it has changed the game for me. I feel like my back is so much more protected. I don't know why I have not tried using a lifting belt before. Moving on, I always do some sort of hip thrust variation in my leg day workouts because hip thrusts are the best for growing your glutes. Here I'm doing some glute bridges on the floor, but I also do single leg hip thrusts. I'll do Smith machine hip thrusts or just plain old barbell hip thrusts. I do like to throw in one variation in every single leg workout. Something else that I throw into every single leg workout is some abductions. Then that's just to hit all of the different parts of the glute. Here I'm doing some cable abductions, but sometimes I'll do it with a dumbbell or sometimes I will use bands. Now let's get into my lunch / post workout meal. This has been one of my really quick and easy lunches that I've been repeating. So I just pop some olive oil and salt on some finely chopped broccoli florets and pop that into the air fryer for like 8 to 10 minutes. It doesn't take long. And then I just throw whatever I have in my fridge into a bowl. Today I had some green onions, some leftover black beans, and then for the protein, I'm adding some chopped tempeh. And for the dressing, which is what makes this dish, I put some tahini, soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, and some sweet coconut aminos. And this is just a really quick and easy, high protein, 10-minute meal. It is so delicious. I also had a little post-lunch snack. I had one of these protein bars from PB Fit, which I have literally been obsessed with. I've been having one every single day lately. Let's talk about my weekly fitness routine during different parts of my postpartum journey. So at the beginning, I basically did complete rest. Once I was able to move around a bit, I just started with really light walks, you know, walking the baby around the neighborhood, taking the dogs for a walk. And then I got into my weight training at about 2.5 to 3 months, again, starting with super light weights. But at this point, I actually did full body workouts because having a baby makes your schedule so sporadic. I had no idea if I'd be able to work out 2 times a week, 3 times, or 4 times. I never really went above 4 times a week at the beginning just because, you know, the newborn stage is so crazy. So I just did full body workouts. I would do compound movements for my whole body, upper body and lower body. And I did full body workouts because I didn't know how many times I'd be able to get to the gym. And this way I was hitting all of my muscle groups multiple times per week. And once I got to around the 6 or 7 month mark, we kind of started to have a little bit of routine so I could actually plan a workout schedule. So then I switched to an upper day and lower day body split. So ideally I would do 3 lower body days and 2 upper body days, but if I could only get to 4 days a week, I would do 2 upper and 2 lower. I just love this style of training, and this is how I have been training now since that 6 or 7 month mark, now to 13 months postpartum. Now let's talk about the mom pooch and my thoughts towards it. I guess I'm talking about, I think it's maybe called the pooch like overhang, where when you have a C-section, the fat kind of hangs over your C-section scar. For me, again, it all comes down to your body composition. When you have that overhang, in my opinion, I think it's from excess body fat, and you can get rid of that by lowering your body fat percentage and working on body recomposition. I know there's lots of trendy videos out there on how to get rid of your mom pooch, exercises for the mom pooch, and yes, while doing ab exercises does play a role, you cannot spot reduce fat. So doing those exercises are gonna help you build muscle in your abdominals, but at the end of the day, once you have that muscle, you're gonna have to be able to shed the body fat in order to get rid of that excess belly fat that is overhanging and reveal those abs that you have been working on. Exercise plays a role, and doing exercises definitely will help, but diet is such a huge part of this. I'm gonna take you through some of the ab exercises that I did throughout my postpartum journey. I started, as I said, with no core strength, no mind to muscle connection in my core at all. And I did do a pregnancy program that I found online. I forgot who it was by, but maybe I'll leave it in the description below if I can remember it. But that was a lot of pelvic floor reconnection exercises, lots of breathing exercises. Then I got into doing lots of bird dogs and glute bridge exercises. Honestly, I found it really boring, and I only stuck to it for maybe a couple weeks. And for me, I just really focused on getting that mind to muscle connection when I was doing my workout exercises in the gym. So if I was doing an overhead press, I would go very light and just really think about getting back that mind to muscle connection with my core and engaging my core with every single exercise that I was doing. And I actually gained a lot of my core strength from doing that. Assisted elevated planks were one of my go-to exercises when rebuilding my core strength early on in pregnancy, and I love this exercise because it is so customizable to how much core strength you have. I started elevated on a bench with my knees on the floor, then I took my knees off and went on my feet into this position. Then when I was a little bit stronger, I did planks on the floor, and you can start with like 10-second holds and work your way up, and I just loved how customizable this exercise was. Now, when my stomach was feeling a little bit better, I did include some more advanced ab exercises, but that was not until the 8-month, 9-month mark, and these are some of my favorite ab exercises to do. I call this one weighted in and outs, and I love it because you can apply progressive overload, and I just feel like it is so efficient. You can start with no weight, or you can grab a plate. You're gonna crunch together and grab the plate in your hands and put it over your head, then crunch again and put it onto your shins and stretch out again. And this just hits so many different parts of your abs, and you can use progressive overload by increasing the weight of the plate. This is another advanced ab exercise that I love doing because I feel like it is just so effective. It's hanging leg raises, and for this one, you really want to control the movement the whole way through, and at the top, kind of tuck your butt underneath, and this one you will feel so much in your abs. I also love doing cable crunches, again, because you can utilize progressive overload. I just hate doing 15-minute ab circuits. I feel like this is just so much more efficient doing like 3 sets of 15 reps as hard as you can go. Again, these last 3 exercises are a little bit more advanced, so I wouldn't start these until you are feeling super comfortable with your core strength. Moving on to today's dinner, which is another typical dinner that I would eat to help me get in a ton of protein. I'm making my Osmow's Copycat shawarma bowls, which I have posted on my channel before, and the full recipe is on my blog. I'm reheating it by adding a splash of water and putting a damp paper towel on top and popping it into the microwave. Then I'm just making a salad with some pickled turnips, some pickles, some tomatoes, and then I'm adding a cashew garlic sauce, a tahini sauce, and some hot sauce. This is one of my favorite dinners. And for dessert, I'm having a large glass of soy milk and a midday square, which is one of my favorite desserts. And I love having soy milk because it has, I think, like 8 or 9 grams of protein per cup. The habits that I built pre-pregnancy also made such a big difference in my postpartum journey. I have been training in the gym and eating healthy for nearly 10 years. So that is like my factory auto reset, if you will. I remember feeling so scared when I was pregnant that I wasn't gonna be able to lose the weight. There's so many unknowns. I was like, what if my hormones get all funky and I can't lose the weight? What if this, what if that? And I had gotten so used to just indulging. Like, I did indulge a lot in pregnancy. So I was scared that like once I had given birth that I wouldn't be able to go back to how I was before, but that's actually not how it was. And because I had built such strong habits, and because I know that even when I don't want to work out, if I push myself anyways to go work out, I know I'm gonna feel 10 times better. Like, having those habits in place really, really helped me in the postpartum period. And it's a crazy, crazy time, guys. It's a crazy time. You're not getting sleep. There's no routine. You're kind of all over the place. Not every workout is gonna be a great workout. I had a lot of crappy workouts. I had a lot of workouts where I was holding Leo in one arm and working out with the other arm. You know, it's not gonna be perfect, but at the end of the day, every little workout and every healthy meal helps you to get to your goal. So you guys, no matter what point you are in your fitness journey or in your pregnancy journey, if you're not even pregnant yet, if you're pregnant right now, or if you're in your postpartum journey, it's never too late to start and to build those habits. If you haven't been able to tell, I am such a huge proponent of weight training and building muscle. I attribute so much of my physique to bodybuilding and weight training. I tried a million different things before bodybuilding. I tried running classes, dance classes, like I tried everything under the sun, and weight training is the only thing that's really been able to get me the body composition that I want. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the questions. I will try to get to all of your comments, and if you want me to make different videos on different aspects of my routine, I'm more than happy to do that. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next one.